Welcome back, everybody, to the daily show where I'll be breaking down the big mega cap stock. So, before we get started, please hit that like button, and that is greatly appreciated. And if you're new here, definitely consider subscribing. Now, if you want to do this on daily basis, and if you're really serious about trading, you want to support the channel, get daily trade ideas, swing trade ideas, head over to Patreon, and that link will be down below in the description. And now, let's get right into the market. All right, so welcome back once again, guys, and we have a lot to cover. And the last update I made was Sunday, so let's get started. AI is another thing where Meta's long-awaited AI model is finally here, and Meta skyrocketed from 520 just about a week ago. Now it's trading at what 640 almost. Not to mention some of the other names like STX, SNDK, which is trading at almost 900. It's a penny stock trading at 900. I would call that a penny stock because about a year ago, who would have been thought that SNDK would come down to 900 for what? Absolutely nothing, right? Now, ceasefire, it's holding up. Strait of Hormuz is not really open, guys. So that big gap up and go we had, and now market just digesting all that. Variable sentiment, you can see 35.7% are bullish, 43% are bearish, 21.3% are neutral. We have CPI, we had GDP today was really bad, extremely bad. Then we got CPI coming out tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. What market did today? That was up 0.58%. Nasdaq up 0.83%, almost 1%. S&P up 0.62%. Russell up 0.57%, advancing 52.4% on the day. 11 sectors, all in the green on top, led by consumer cyclical, industrials, consumer defensive, utilities, real estate, communication services. But look at technology here, guys. It's all the way down here. So it's not all just risk on and nothing really happening behind the scenes. When you look right here, you'll see a different market. Look at what's happening here on software. It's getting absolutely decimated. Look at these names. Look at these names right here. Now, CRM. We got Snow, another one. These things are just getting killed. Where some of the other names like Amazon, then we have Meta, even Tesla, not really going up that much. So we do have some issues in the market. Look at right here. Intel, it's up, I think, 30 some percent within just a couple of weeks now. Nvidia is the king, but it's still not at all-time highs. So who's leading the market? Some of these junk names. Like I said, STX, SNDK, some of these other ones, you can see right here, 9% on the day. For what? Absolutely nothing. And I think it's up another 1% right now. But contracts are so expensive. IVs on the contracts are so much like over 100%. So good luck if you're shorting it. You're not gonna make big money on this play, especially if this thing does not come down like 100 or $150 on the day. And now let's get right into Microsoft. On Microsoft, it's down 0.34%. But if you look at my screen, came all the way down to that 367, 366 range. And same thing happened day before yesterday was right here. We had a hammer type candle, and today same thing happened, and we bounced off of that level. So there is so many things happening with Microsoft. There is something coming. Who knows? There might be some sort of a AI news that's gonna come out, and it's going to push the stock higher because everybody's looking at it. It's beaten down, everything is up, and this is not no small company, guys. So Microsoft, what I'm looking at here, yesterday's candle, I mean, this thing sold right off from opening. It did not stop. And now it's finding some sort of a ground here. And you can see it was pretty much flagging here. You can call this a nice bull flag or some, box, whatever you want to call it here. So we need to get over 374. If that happens, we can immediately go to that negative sloping 20 SMA, which is at 378.67. If we can cross that, we can possibly come back up and retest 382 and maybe even top of this candle, which is at 385. To the downside, if you're bullish on Microsoft, definitely it has to hold that 367 zone. Underneath that, you will see a flush all the way back down to these lows once again. On Apple stock, it's a 0.61%. So what's disappointing about Microsoft? You can see Apple off of these lows, 246, 245, and we actually had calls on it. What happened from here, guys? I mean, this is a big move. I mean, this thing rallied almost $15 in just a matter of how many days? 2 3 days. But look at Microsoft. We went up yesterday $10 and we gave it all back plus some this morning, but finally we recovered. So, and Microsoft is way bigger mover than Apple. So I'm waiting to see the day will come where Microsoft will go up 20 $25, and that day will definitely come, and it's going to be in near future. Now, if you look at Apple stock here, we did get over that key zone 259 and almost getting over the 50 SMA. If that happens come tomorrow, 261-ish, we could be heading towards that 265. If we get a pullback, we get under 259, there will be support at 257 underneath that 255 here on Apple. On Tesla stock, it's up 0.69%, but Tesla here again came all the way down to, I mean, you can see 337 off of these lows. I mean, it did not really offer a big bounce, even though the market is bouncing pretty big in SPY, pretty much, not too far away from all-time highs. So going into next few sessions, Tesla, if it gets over 350, we could see a move up to that 361, 362 zone. If this thing continues, the next big support would be lower Bollinger Band 337 and then 330 right here. On AMD, it's up 2%. So this is what I was saying at the beginning of my video that it's just an AI thing. Look at this right here. This thing where it should, I mean, the way it was looking, it should be coming down here and filling the gap. Look at the rally back up to close the gap here. And now we're back, especially over 235. So now this thing is getting a bit frothy, overextended. We get some sort of a pullback into the support to 26, maybe into the gap to 22. That would be a buy zone here as long as the support holds. But chasing at this level, I wouldn't be chasing here. If it goes up, the next big resistance to watch, just over 240 here. And if this thing passes that, we could be going up to that previous all-time high once again. On Meta, it's up 2.61%. So Meta, this monster, I mean, look at the move here. 520 just about 2 weeks ago. From there, this thing put in a bottom. It wasn't like it was a hammer candle or anything crazy. A lot of volume. You can see not really that much. Not like here or even, here. Look at the buying here. This thing went back up. And now, if you look at my screen, we're just retesting this weekly trend line. So we did get a rejection today after filling the gap at 636. Now it's under that level. So if we can get over, I would say 638, maybe even get over 640-ish right here, past this trend line, we're back in business and Meta heading higher back up to. We'll be retesting upper Bollinger Band 654, 664, and then we can talk about more upside. But the move is so big, we can afford a pullback. If this thing pulls back, let's say into 614, somehow into 600, even under 600, that would be a great opportunity to see if this thing can hold some sort of a higher low before going even higher. But as of right now, if you're chasing here Meta and you're trying to get in, I think this is a really bad spot to go in, especially when Meta is back into this trend line and we have a negative sloping 50-day. Just because we got that rally does not mean that we cannot come back down. That's my point here on Meta. On Google stock, it's up 0.5%. So this is another one. I mean, gap up and go, gap up and go, and this is another gap and go. And we never actually looked back. And a lot of people were just extremely bearish on Google with the head and shoulder pattern. And this is it. And we reversed from there. So the correction is officially over here. If this thing can remain over, I would say at least 300. I think we're still in business for more upside, maybe even retrace back up to all-time highs. Now, don't get overly bullish because we have a bunch of gaps, and if there is some bad news, we can definitely fill one or two gap. So now if this thing is holding 314, that's going to be key zone underneath that 308, 304 gap gap support right here, and then flat 300. To the upside, 314 holds. Next up, we already went there. You can see yesterday right here, right about 321, and then possibly move up to 328. On Nvidia stock, it's up 1%. So Nvidia, nice move up again today from 180. You can see recovered, did not fill the gap at 178, and now we are back close to 184. If we can cross that, I can possibly go higher into like 187 to 190. But if this thing remains below 184, there's a good chance we might come back down and fill the gap at 178, and that should be the gap support. If this thing breaks below that, it definitely can go down even more. But Nvidia, I mean, this chart, unless we're at the lower range, which I bought the dip, I don't really like it here in the middle or at the top portion of the range. Unless something really happens with the earnings, this thing goes up or goes down, that would be a nice opportunity to go in. But as of right now, we're back into the chop zone, so this is not a good opportunity for anything here on Nvidia. On Amazon stock, it's up 5.60%. So it's not 1 or 2%. Massive, massive rally. And you can see, even though the market went down recently, Amazon was holding here. We even did not take out this low from last earnings, 196. We came down here. What was it? 199. And that was it. Double gap up and go here. And today, massive move to fill the gap at 231. We went higher and pretty much closing near high of the day. So Amazon a bit overextended. We can afford a pullback into 223. That does not hold. We can possibly pull back into the 5-day moving average 218, and then critical support 214 to 214, 215 to 214, the gap support from yesterday. If this thing still continues, watch out for the resistance at 236. That would be the next one to watch for. On Netflix is up 2.68%, and you can see nice move down here, and now we're ripping back up to the upside over 100. So if this thing stays over, especially over 100, I think you can easily get up to that, 110 and possibly even higher. Earnings are coming up also on Netflix. So now, if this thing pulls back, you want to watch 100 as a support underneath that 97.3 on Netflix. On Broadcom, it's up 1.22%. So you can see this thing went through that level once 356 came back in and pretty much closing right there on the resistance here. So Broadcom can clear that. I think we can fill this gap from earnings. That's totally possible. And again, I mean, this thing had a decent, move to the downside. And right now, if you look at it, maybe this is the double bottom. And if this is going to play out, we might be filling this gap completely to the upside. We get a pullback, we can afford one. Watch out yesterday's low here, 342. If that's out, we could be filling this gap right down here around 334 to 330. And underneath that, there will be downside. But as of right now, the momentum is pretty strong here on Broadcom. So definitely on a pullback, as long as some of these supports hold, I think that is a good opportunity to play it back up to the upside. And that is all I have for you guys in this video. Thank you so much for watching.